Huh. Never did. You're so cold, huh? You feel cold? It is cold, but that was even colder than the previous days. Today is better. So guys, ready? Yeah. Appendicular skeleton. Consists of which bones? Upper limb,
Just lower limb. Just going over the appendicular skeleton.
Girdle. What are girdles?
Attachment to the axial.
So the first one here is called pectoral girdle. Pectoral girdle connects what? Upper limb to the
Core.
axial. The other one is here. It's called
Pelvic.
It connects what? What?
Lower limbs. To the pelvis.
So you can see it, right? So we start with the pectoral girdle and also the bones that you have in the upper limb. So your pectoral girdle consists of two bones. What are these two bones?
Clavicle.
And
Scapula.
scapula. So this is your clavicle. So in the test, guys, you may have the questions here on the clavicle that you have here, or you may have it on the separate clavicle that you have here. It's the same thing, right? So you guys know that the clavicle is the bone of the pectoral girdle is connected to two other bones. What are these two other bones?
The sternum.
Which part of the sternum?
The manubrium.
Manubrium, right? So the end of the clavicle, which connects to the manubrium of the sternum, is called
The sternal and
the other end, which is the lateral end, and connects to the acromion of the scapula is called acromial end. So guys, look, in the separate clavicle that you have, the round one is which one, Jason? Sternal end. The other one, which is flat, is called acromial end is the flat one, and the sternal end is the
round bone.
Even if I rotate it, I mean, it makes no difference, because you know that the round one is sternal end and the flat one is the acromial. Okay, so your clavicle has two ends. The proximal end, which connects to the manubrium of the sternum, is called sternal end. The lateral end, which connects to the acromion of the scapula, is called
Acromion.
The next bone, guys, that you have in the pectoral girdle is called
Scapula.
This is the posterior part of your scapula. This is the anterior part of your scapula, right? So this major part of the scapula is called
The body.
The body. This bridge here is called
The spine.
The spine will lead to the process here, which is called so this is the same thing that you have here, right? This is the acromion. The other shallow depression that you have here is called glenoid cavity. Glenoid cavity receives what?
The humerus. The head of the humerus.
So the head of the humerus goes into the glenoid cavity of the scapula. You can see that the glenoid cavity is located inferior to the acromion. The other process here and here is called
Acromion?
coracoid process.
Yeah.
Coracoid process is this process. It's a place for attachment of what?
Muscles and tendons.
So this is your scapula. The scapula makes the posterior part of the pectoral girdle. This is the body. This is the
Spine.
spine. This is the
Acromion.
acromion. This is the cavity.
Glenoid
This
cavity.
is the coracoid process.
Coracoid.
The acromion connects to where?
The acromion end of the clavicle.
Acromial end of the clavicle. The glenoid cavity receives what?
The head of the humerus.
And the coracoid process is a place for the attachment of the
Muscles and tendons.
muscles and tendons, right? So, scapula. Any problem? Alright. The next bone, guys, that you have here next to your arm bone is this guy here, and this guy here is the right one. These are
Humerus.
humerus, your arm bones, the largest and longest bone that you have in the upper limb. Right? So, at first, the first thing, guys, which is important, which part is the anterior part of it? Here. And which part is the posterior part? At first, you have to be in the anatomical position, right? If you are in the anatomical position like our friend here, this is the anterior part. You guys know that this is the anterior part because the depression that you have here, you know that we call it coronary fossa, is located at the anterior part. The deeper depression here is located at the posterior part. So it's a separate bone, guys. When you want to make sure that where is the anterior, where is the posterior, look at this fossa that you have here. The shallower one, which is the coronoid fossa, is at the anterior part. The deeper one, which is olecranon fossa, is at the posterior part. So this is the anterior, this is the posterior. This is the way that you should hold the bone. Right? So when you have the bone like this, the round structure here is called
The head.
The head. Head goes where?
Into the glenoid cavity.
To the glenoid cavity of which one?
Scapula.
The scapula. Very good. Just distal to the head here, you have the neck. Which neck? Anatomical neck. Just distal to the anatomical neck. Here you have two processes. These processes are called
Greater
and lesser tubercle. Which one is greater? Which one is? How do you know that this is greater, this is lesser? Because the greater is, you just said it, lateral, and this is the lesser is medial. How do you know that this is lateral and this is medial? In anatomical position, where you have the anterior of the bone facing you, right? So you have the greater tubercle, you have the lesser tubercle. Then here, all the way, you have the body. For the lab test, you are not responsible for the surgical neck, but know that surgical neck is located somewhere here, right? Then you have the body. Here you have two major processes. This process here, guys, the round one here is called capitulum. Very good. Capitulum make the connection with what?
The radius. The head of the radius.
Of the radius. This process here is called trochlea. Trochlea is the connection with what?
The trochlear notch
of the ulna. Very good. Then here you have the fossa. What's the name of the fossa? Very good. Coronoid fossa. Coronoid fossa receives what? Coronoid process. Of which bone? When you flex your forearm, the olecranon process of the ulna goes into the olecranon. I'm sorry, not olecranon. Coronoid process of the ulna goes into the coronoid fossa of the humerus when you flex your forearm. The other fossa here in the humerus is called what? Fossa. Olecranon fossa receives what? Of which one?
When you extend.
When you extend your forearm, the olecranon process of the ulna goes into the olecranon fossa of the humerus when you flex your forearm. Then there are two other processes here which are called lateral and medial what? Epicondyles. Lateral and medial epicondyles are these two. This is medial, lateral, this is medial, and these are the place for the attachment of the muscles and tendons. Alright. So look at your handouts. You have handouts for the appendicular skeleton. They are here. So these are all you need to know for the humerus. Then the next one is the ulna. Already there's no difference. Ulna. Let's continue with ulna. This is your ulna, right? In ulna, the major processes that you need to know is the process that you have here. Where is the head of the ulna, by the way?
Just down there.
This is the head of the ulna, right? This process of the ulna is called olecranon process. It goes there. Which one? When you extend. This process is called the triangular one here is called coronoid process. It goes where? Which one? When you flex. Then here you have, let me show you here. This is the separate ulna that you have. How do you know that this is ulna? The notches. So this notch, the big one here is which one? Trochlear notch. We call it trochlear notch. Why trochlear notch? No, this is the trochlear notch because it receives the trochlea of the humerus. The other notch here, which is located inferior and lateral to it, this small one is the radial notch. Why radial notch? Look at here. Because the head of the radius goes into the radial notch. Make sense, Frederick? Yes? All right. Are you happy now? Okay, very good. That you are happy. Then here at the end, at the distal end here, you have the head of the ulna. And finally, you have this small process here. This is the styloid process. That's all for ulna. Right? What? Okay. Radius. This is your radius. This is your radius. How do you know that this is radius?
No notches.
No notches, and also look at this tuberosity here. This is radial tuberosity. This is the clue that you can find this is radius, right? This is the head of the radius. The head of the radius makes connection with two bones here. What are these two bones?
The capitulum.
It makes a connection with which part of the humerus? This is the capitulum. And also it makes the connection with which part of the ulna?
The radial notch.
Radial notch, right? So you can see that the radius at its proximal end makes connection with both humerus and the ulna to make your elbow joint. So this is your radius head. Here you have neck, and here this is the radial tuberosity. Radial tuberosity is the place for the attachment of the tendons and muscles. Then all the way you have the body, and finally here you have the styloid process of the radius here. Right. Makes sense? So your elbow joint has three connections. What are these three connections? Look, this is, I think that 100 times we have repeated. Three connections in the elbow joints. What are the three? Now we can see them. The first one is between the capitulum and the
head of the radius.
The second one is between the
trochlea
and the
trochlea process of the ulna.
God bless you. The third one is between the
radial
of the radius and the
radial notch of the ulna.
Three connections in your elbow. What are three connections between radius and ulna? You can see them. The first one is between the
Head of the radius.
Very good. And the radial notch of the ulna. The second one is between the, what is this one? The head of the ulna with the ulnar notch of the radius.
Yeah.
And in the real one, not in the skeleton, here you have the membrane,
the osseous membrane.
Osseous membrane. These are your carpal bones. You are lucky because you don't need to know the names. You have 8 here in the proximal and distal. You have 5 metacarpals. This one is number
1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have how many phalanges?
14.
14. You have 2 in your thumb, proximal and
distal.
You have 3 in each finger, proximal,
middle,
medial, and distal. That's all. No problem. And also you are lucky because you are not in Rocket campus. In Rocket campus, in addition to know all of this part, you need to know that this is the left bone. Oh God. All right. And really, it's killing. And during the test, they remove all the skeletons from the lab, so you cannot put it like this and make sure that this is the left part. You cannot compare it because they remove all the skeleton. They put this for you and say, okay, what is this one? Is this right or left?
Can you just start by looking at the head and then looking at the fossa? Can you just tell by looking at the head and the fossa and the fossa?
The fossa?
If you have the shallow fossa and the head pointing to the middle.
If you have the shallow fossa, which is the coronoid fossa, this is the anterior part of it. If you have the deeper fossa, which is called olecranon fossa, this is the
Right,
fossa.
and then you just look at the head, which way the head's pointing. If it's
Or right or left?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you look at the head. The head goes to the
That would be your right.
That's the right one.
Oh
yeah, that's right on.
Anyway, I wanted to say that thanks God for that we are here.